All right, y'all. So today we're going to talk about solving multi-step equations, which means more than two steps. Um, all right, so we're going to start with just the steps that we use in general. Okay, so our first step is that we're going to distribute if we need to. Okay, our second step is going to be that we combine like terms. And our third step, okay, is just going to be to solve the equation like we know how. Okay, so on all of these that we have today, there are a few fractional answers, but on all of these we have today, one side of the equation, so here's your equal sign. So we've got kind of like a line here. We've got the left side and the right side. And then one side's going to be kind of confusing and the other side's going to be simple. So what we're going to work on today is we're going to simplify the confusing side down as far as we can, and then it should turn into a two-step equation, which I told you is a great deal of the work that you're going to have to do in Math 1. Okay, so I'm going to start on number 1. I don't have to distribute because I don't have any parentheses. So the second step is to combine like terms. So I'm going to combine my 9x minus 7x. Now remember, you're basically pretending this isn't here, and it reads just 9x minus 7x, which is going to give me 2x. And then 1 minus 5 is going to give me negative 4. Everything else stays the same. It's hard to see that, so let me find a different color. Okay, a little bit better. All right, and then our third step is to solve. So this is a two-step equation. So our first step would be to move the addition or subtraction. Remember your sign rules here. So these are opposite. We're going to subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. Okay, and then our last step here is going to be to divide both sides by 2, which gives me a final answer of x equals negative 8. So combine like terms up here. That took me to the green equation, and then we're solving. Move the addition, subtraction, move the multiplication or division. Okay. All right, so on number 2, we do have some distributive property here. So we're going to multiply. That's going to be negative 7 times 3a and negative 7 times negative 1. So I'm going to have 91 equals negative 21a plus 7. Okay, that's my distributive property. I wrote it over here so I have more room. Okay, now again, it's just a two-step equation. So I'm going to start by moving my addition or subtraction because I don't have to combine like terms. So I'm going to subtract 7, which gives me 84 equals negative 21a. And then our last step is going to be to divide by negative 21. And that's going to give me that a equals a positive and a negative when you divide is a negative, so it's negative 4. Okay. Moving on to number 3. Again, we have the distributive property. So that's negative 15m plus negative 50. This 4m hasn't moved, so I'm going to bring it down. And now I'm going to combine like terms. So our like terms here would give me negative 11m minus 50 is going to equal 126. And now we're solving our equation. Move your addition or subtraction first. Okay, so I'm going to redraw that up here so you can see it. And then our last step is to divide by negative 11. And remember, Okay, we can do that by hand. It is going to be a negative, but if I need to know what's 176 divided by 11, 11 goes into 17 one time, 11 goes into 66 six times, so it is negative 16. All right, number 4. Now, this one gets confusing sometimes, so be careful. That's why I have a couple of these in here on purpose. You got a -1 right here. So we are going to have to distribute twice. Okay, so that's -3k. A negative times a negative is positive 24, -1k, and -5. All right, combine like terms. -3k minus another 1k gives me -4k. And then 24 minus 5 gives me 19. Two-step equation, so I'm going to move my 19 first, and I get -4k equals 4. And the second step would be to divide, and a negative divided by a positive, or a positive divided by a negative, again, is a -1. Make sure you see the negative. My equal sign kind of ran into it, so it's -1. All right, looking at problem number 5. Again, my distributive property is first, so I'm going to distribute. That gives me -12x minus 30. 10x comes down, and so does the 20. Combine like terms. 10x minus 12x is -2x. And it's a two-step equation. Add your 30. Divide by your -2. All right, looking at the second page. Okay, we're going to start with number 6. Again, distributive property first. So that's 16w minus 8 minus 4w equals -116. 16w minus 4w gives me 12w. Two-step equation. Add 8, but the signs are different, so we're going to actually subtract. And that's going to give me -108. And then we're going to divide. Okay, y'all, 12 doesn't go into 108 10 times. That would be 120. But the difference from 120 to 108 is 12. So what's 1 less than 10? It would be 9. So W equals -9. Okay, understood -1. Again, you can always pause these, go back, whatever you need to do to see slower for you if you need to, okay? So I distributed my -1, which gave me -2h, and +1, negative times a negative. Combine like terms, that gives me 9h. Two-step, subtract 1, and then I'm going to divide. And I'm going to divide over here so that we can see it. 117 divided by 9. 9 goes into 11 one time. 9 goes into 27 three times. So H is going to equal positive 13 because everything was positive. Sorry, couldn't see that very well. All right, now 8 and 9 were our fraction problems that we talked about. But remember, all you're doing still is multiplication for distribution, okay? But when you do that, a lot of times you're just multiplying and dividing when you simplify, okay? So basically what I'm doing, the negative 25 is going to stay here. I'm doing 1 times 10, which is 10, and 10 divided by 2, which is going to give me 5x. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2, divided by 2 is negative 1. So that's all I'm doing. I'm doing 1/2 of 10x and 1/2 of negative 2. Combine like terms, 5x plus 3x is 8x. And two-step equation. Add your 1. So negative 24 equals 8x, and then divide by 8, and x equals negative 3. All right, using the exact same process on number 9. Okay, but this time you've got to do 5 times 8, which is 40, and 40 divided by 2 is 20, and that's a negative 20r. 5 times 6 is 30, and 30 divided by 2 is 15, and two negatives make a positive 15. All right. Combine your like terms. So, y'all, that's a negative 20 plus 2. Negative 20 plus 2 is going to give me negative 18r. And then that's negative 20 plus 2. And then 7 plus 15 is 22, and that equals 32. Two-step. And remember, in class, this one is a fraction. So when you divide here by negative 18, you do need to reduce. And both of those are reducible by 2, so it's going to turn into 5/9. All right, and I did talk in class about how we have not done problem number 10, but I would at least do it in your video if anybody wanted to look at it. So again, I have not taught you how to do these problems like problem number 10. But that doesn't mean some of you did try. So if you did, go back and look over it. But basically, you've got to write your equation first. So it says 5 times the difference of twice a number and 3. So that's 2x minus 3. Decreased by means minus. The sum means plus the number, which is x, and 8. And that equals 13. So you did have to write that out first. And then we're going to follow all the properties that we've been doing all day. Combine your like terms. And two-step equation. Okay, again, kind of like extra credit, just simply because we did not discuss how to write that out in class. But that is what you're doing. You're just reading through. 5 times means we're multiplying by 5. The difference means subtract. Twice the number means you're multiplying by 2. Decrease by means we subtract. Sum means we add. And obviously equals means equals. Okay? All right, see you guys tomorrow.